What role does Judaism play? Look, like all of you, the values that have been central to my life have come to me from many different sources. What I learned at school, what I learned in the various academic studies that I've enjoyed, what I've learned in the reading that I have, what I've learned watching the world and learning about the world, watching the news. I hear all of this is part of who we are, but I think I speak for each and every person here if I say that part of the values that have shaped my life, I learned around the Seder table, learning of freedom and the journey from slavery, oppression and persecution to a promised land that offered hope, freedom, safety and opportunity for the Jewish people. I learned in lighting the Hanukkah menorah of the right to determine our religious lives against those who would take away that freedom, who would impose a foreign culture on us. I learned in every Shabbat what a day of peace meant. I learned in my father's sermons, the rabbi's sermons, in the stories that I learned in religious school. I learned in our youth group programs a whole set of values. I learned in the history of the Jewish people what it meant to be the quintessential victims of persecution, of ethnic cleansing, forced time and again to flee countries, to be banished from areas, from countries, from communities, seeking only safety and the opportunity to live open with opportunity and freedom. And when we had that in Babylonia, in Alexandria, in the golden age of Spain, even before the age of reason, our communities flourished and we contributed so much to the world around us. All of this taught me the lessons that have shaped my life and have been woven together into a holistic whole from the other sources that we have. I know each of you could tell of how values like that out of your own Jewish experience is part of what inspires you and helps shape your values, your priorities in the world. So for me, put that together with the example of my parents and my brother, who all three of whom are for me my heroes, and it is and their lives bound up so deeply with the Jewish community. Here, you can't separate out one part of influences in our lives from others, but interwoven into all of it is what to me it means to be a Jew and to respond to God's call for us to be a holy people.
That's interesting, the language you used at the end there, because one of the questions that I wanted to ask you directly was, do you feel called? Do you feel that there is divine providence guiding and shaping not just you, but your work?
Well, let me answer both of those questions. I do feel called in the way I think every Jew is called, not something specific or different to me about it. Here, so on that level, I don't feel anything special in that regard. I respond in terms of my faith ideas, my own sense of theology. I resonate deeply with the strand of Jewish theology that would argue that when God created the universe, God chose to leave one part of creation undone. And that was the creation of a world of justice and peace. And then God gave to humanity something different, all of humankind, not just the Jewish people, all of humankind, that, as far as we know, unknown anywhere else in creation, the ability to understand the difference between right and wrong, good and evil, the blessing and the curse, and the capacity and responsibility to choose between them. And then God entrusted to us in our sacred texts a blueprint to how to complete that world of justice and peace. And in calling us to be God's partners, in that call, you shall be holy as the eternal your God is holy, a message to every Jewish person. In the call for us to be an Or LaGoyim, a light to the nations, God did something extraordinary. In the words of the great Orthodox Jewish scholar Isidore Twersky, long the head of Jewish Studies program in Harvard University, part of the legendary Soloveitchik Twersky family, he said, in calling us to be partners with God in completing creation, God has ennobled humanity, raised us above mere biological existence, and given to our lives meaning and destiny and purpose. One cannot claim to be a God-intoxicated Jew, said Twersky, without having a passion for social justice. I have seen that as a central mission I have chosen to respond to in the Jewish tradition. Not the only mission, the mission to work on behalf of the Jewish people, to ensure Jewish continuity, to enhance Israel's ability to flourish as a Jewish state here, to be a good citizen of the nation of which I am a part, to bring the values and the messages of our tradition to the world. It's all part of the mission I've chosen to live my life out as a Jew. But that central idea of God's call that I think every Jew in their own way hears has been the central faith statement of my life, Rabbi, in a way that has always inspired and guided me, and I think has done so for the Jewish people in a way that has allowed the Jewish people to help shape a better future for all humankind.